So I've got a Sony A6500,
Yeah.
which takes reasonable video, so that would be sufficient.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, we're going to go through today just using the phone.
Yes.
The quality out of a phone is absolutely fine for any educational video
Okay.
of the sort that we do. But the first step is to have a look at some videos
Yes.
and tell me what sort of style you want.
Okay.
Okay. And I've just put chairs away, so grab a chair. And the first one we'll have a quick look at will just be from our website, so that you can say, okay, well, I like that look, or I don't like that look, you know. So you've seen the videos on our website.
Yes.
What sort of look appeals to you for doing instructional videos?
A good question. A lot of the videos that I've seen that I quite like is where someone's actually either sitting down or standing and basically presenting knowledge in a informative way.
Okay.
Yes.
So presenting straight to camera.
Yes.
And looking at the camera as you're doing it. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's easy to replicate using a phone. Absolutely easy. And the other thing we can look at is once you've framed it well and you start collecting the video, so to speak, ways to use your voice.
Yes.
As well, and the idea of using a script.
Okay.
Okay. So for the better videos, there's a script.
So how do you I hear what you're saying as far as scripts are concerned, but how do you go from a script so it sounds natural without as if you're reading a teleprompter?
Yes. There's a couple of ways or tricks, because they're not that great. The first one is to memorize it.
Yeah.
In chunks. The second one is to put it behind your camera and yes, read it.
Yeah.
And the trick is to not worry if you make a mistake, just start again and then edit it out later.
Okay.
So you don't have to sound like you're speaking perfectly the entire time.
Fine.
So that's it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the style that we want. So getting the camera and everything set up, if you would follow me over here for a second, we'll have a look at this very basic setup. We've got a rather inexpensive tripod, but it's still a decent one with the level and everything.
Yep.
Having it level is incredibly important.
Okay.
If you've got a desk behind you, especially a bookshelf, and it's a little bit skewed, people are going to be looking at that and going, oh my God, this is frustrating. Okay. So having it level is really important. Now this one's already been leveled. However, this is just an iPhone. We're going to get you to use your Android.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you like, we'll just test with the iPhone to start with, and we'll do what we call a 2-minute introduction.
Okay.
So just like you're doing an introduction to yourself in a classroom,
Yeah.
and see what it would look like. Now, if you come around this side, I'll just pop it on for a second, and we'll have a look at setting it to video first. So again, your phone will be a little bit different to this, but basically the same. Always have it in landscape mode.
Yeah.
As I said, I've already leveled this, so it shouldn't be annoying anybody. It might be a little high, but then again, we are standing. And when you're framing yourself, do you think it's good to be in the dead center of the frame?
I would prefer to be slightly off centre.
Yep.
Necessarily.
So you're familiar with the rule of thirds from your photography? Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. A big plus in that is that if you do stand off to one side, then you've got room there to maybe edit some other information in, like we do in some of our videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And also it looks a bit more natural as well, so people's eyes are drawn to you. There's another technique as well that you might want to think about. We won't do it now, but you might want to think about when you're doing the actual videos themselves, which is to just turn off center to it and talk like you're talking to an interviewer or a student.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what the theme of the video is. That can look really cool too. You're over here talking to them. Okay. So in the frame there, where am I sitting?
A little bit off centre here at the moment.
Correctly off centre or badly off centre? In your view?
No, in my view, it's not too bad actually. Looking at that, if anything, I'd probably get you to move to your right just a whisker more.
Out there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the other thing. Once you've got it set up, know where you're standing. Now, you know on TV there's always an X on the floor.
That's it, yes.
So I'll put this little thing here, and that's right between the centres of my feet. Okay, so
Yep.
when you stand over here, we'll do a quick one of you, and then we'll review it. How's that
Okay,
sound?
sounds good.
So you go and stand there. Now, remember what I said about editing it? You can always edit afterwards.
Yes.
So that is pretty well framed. I'm a bit taller than you, so I take a bit more space. So if you like, you can come forward a little bit. Yeah, perfect. Actually, really perfect. All right. So you can start. So if you're doing this by yourself, which most of the time you will, you can start recording, then move
That's
around.
right. Yeah.
So I've started recording, so I'll be quiet now, and you just do two camera. So just look at the cameras themselves and just give us a minute or so introduction.
Yep, no problems. Good morning, Dan. My name's Doug Ivans. I'm one of the senior facilitators here at Spec Training. My background has been in adult education for a long period of time. Like most people, started as a casual trainer and then over a period of about 25 years worked my way through to senior management roles, ending up as Chief Executive Officer of a number of private organisations. So today I'm here to help you learn more about vocational education and training, assessment in particular, and through my experience I hope to also give you a bit of background as to what it's like to work within the classroom assessing students.
Cut. Beautiful. Okay. So doing it on your own, you've obviously got that whole walk around and turn it off thing, which will all be captured, but you've got great editing software already. We've already discovered that Doug has got editing software that is suitable. He uses Adobe Premiere, which is a high-end software program. However, you can do this on things like iMovie, which comes free on an Apple, and there are, I think Sony also has a rather inexpensive video editing software program. So there's a lot to choose from. You don't have to go straight to high-end. Okay, so Doug, the next part of the training will be just sit with me and we're going to upload it. We're going to see what it looks like. We're going to review it and you're going to tell me what you think about it.
Okay.
Okay, so grab a chair and put it here and I'll just bring our camera in. Once you hear yourself, because I speak too fast, that's one of my problems, but I don't hear it in my own head when I'm speaking.
No.
And when I see it, I go, oh, if I just slowed down a bit.
Just a little bit.
So when they're, this is just an interesting fact I heard the other day, when they're recording audio books for Audible,
Yep.
they ask the artist, the voice artist, to always read slower than normal.
Oh, okay.
Because once it's in the app, you can speed it up anyway.
That's true.
But you can't slow it down.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've got natural voice, a little bit slow, and then if a listener wants to speed it up, they can. Just like we can on YouTube, if we're watching a video, we can always speed it up a little bit.
Yep.
And still be audible. Okay, so I mentioned before, to transfer it now, with an Android, you mentioned you transfer using cables generally, unless you do have a hotspot that works,
yes,
or a connection that works. I'll simply bring up the video that we just made, and I can share it. He says, share to the Mac. And it doesn't take too long to just send itself across. Okay, that's done. There you go.
That's good.
So once it's in there, I will import it into my editing software, which in this case is Final Cut Pro. And that's done. I can pop it over now this is where we can align the audio with the video. I will play it to you just with the audio from the phone though, because you might find that's sufficient for what you want to do without spending a lot of money on microphones. Because it's not just the mic. In fact, I was about to say it's not just the microphone, it's the mixers as well.
Yes.
But you can get microphones that plug directly into USB.
Yeah.
And depending on what you spend, and you can do some research online about a good one, you could probably find quite a decent one. A lot of podcasters use them and videocasters use them now, and they just plug straight into your PC, so there's none of this having to plug through a mixer or another audio device. Now that's concerning, that there's only that much video and all this audio.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because we only recorded 20 seconds of it.
Yeah.
As I'm recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
Good. That was a worry for a second. Okay, so let's have a listen to you here. Now this is just with the audio from the phone itself. And started recording. recording, so I'll be quiet now. And you just do two cameras, so just look at the cameras themselves and just give
See what I mean about it not being square?
Yeah, no problems. Good morning, Dan. My name's Doug Ivans. I'm one of the senior facilitators here at
How good does that look?
My background has been in adult education for a long period of time. I, like most people, started as a casual trainer and then over a period of about 25 years worked my way through to senior management roles, ending up as chief executive officer of a number of private organisations. So today I'm here to help you learn more about vocational education and training, assessment in particular, and through my experience I hope to also give you a bit of background as to what it's like to work within the classroom assessing students.
Okay, so what did you think?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I close my eyes too much when I'm trying to think of what to say. I
Yeah.
close my eyes.
I tend to look away, but yeah, so we all got our little things, yeah?
Yep. And I say and I know I do that.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I didn't see that as a distraction.
So I know I do that normally. So I try really hard, particularly when I'm training on Zoom, and it's something that I always talk to the students about, and it's why I get them to video themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you say, we all have our little quirks, and we don't always recognise it ourselves until we see or hear it played back to us.
Yeah, and so that was great to do. So, what did you think of the audio?
Quite good, actually.
Yeah, considering it's just from the phone microphone.
Yes.
Little echoey, as I mentioned, it sounds like you're in a room.
Yes.
But when you pair it up with decent quality video, it's not that bad.
No.
If you did have a microphone, you'd have to put it just out of camera shot.
Okay.
And you have to turn the gain right up on it. If it has a
Yeah.
gain control, or on the computer to turn it right up to get that same sort of effect. So the gain control on these at the moment is right up. Because we're quite a long way away from them, I already know
Yes.
it's not going to be great, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I just enlarged the view there to get rid of the ceiling.
Ceiling.
That's got rid of the illusion of being particularly off-centre, or
Yes.
off-skew. You should be able to actually rotate a bit, but I couldn't see that as an option. Actually, yes, I can. I can distort. Should I bother doing that? He says. No, I actually might do that. Okay, so that's great. We've now got a completed video that you've done. The obvious things are the quality of the audio. Is there something else in here that you've noticed that you might not have access to at home?
Other than your
Other than microphones, yeah.
mics and that, the lighting I don't have.
Yeah. So lighting's huge. As you can see, we've lit you from behind
Yes.
using a reflection off the wall rather than direct. Direct would have been too bright.
Yeah.
Information on how to do that, there's so many websites, not websites, there's courses online, but there's just free
YouTube
stuff on
and that.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
So I reflected off a white wall, which gave us a nice, what they call a key light,
Yeah.
which gives you a nice contrast between you and the background. That always looks good. And then a front light, what they call a fill or a flood, and the fill just lights your face. The options for that are facing a window when you're doing the recording, but just be wary of any shadows that fall on
Yes.
you from either microphones or curtains or anything like that. But these lights are not expensive.
No.
You can buy very expensive lights, but these aren't. I picked these up, I'm going to say eBay, about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And two of those lights, plus two can lights,
Yeah.
plus a green screen was under $500.
Really? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know what it's worth now, because that was before everyone got into YouTube and decided that they all can all be stars.
Stars.
But that's what it cost back then. But that light's only got one globe in it, but it's got a space for 3 globes, so I can make it a
Okay.
lot brighter if I wanted to. That LED is brilliant because I can just tune it up and down, and it's
Yes.
powered straight. And you can actually attach a battery to it. It's a Sony battery, but it does come with one.
Okay.
They were bought separately, but I've got 2 of those, and they've also got coloured filters I can put over the top.
Yeah.
That could be kind of cool as well if you want some coloured backlighting like we've got here.
Yes.
So framing it, I think you're all over that because of your photography background. Backdrops is another thing. So you could green screen it and just put a nondescript kind of background or a faded background or a blurry background.
Yeah.
Whatever you think visually might not distract people or look nice.
So that was going to be a question, because you've done a lot of YouTube videos and what have you. When we're doing videos on, say, training, or we're doing videos on, say, business management, what do you recommend from a background perspective? Should the background reflect the topic that's being discussed?
I have a lot of fun with backgrounds because I think to myself from the learner's point of view all the time, or the viewer's point of view all the time. So for instance, there's one here where I've got it more like a TV broadcaster where I've just got the
improving within their
image on the
workplace.
side like that.
Yeah.
The third unit, probably my favourite, is
Okay, and I've got full control over whatever appears in that backdrop. I like that, for instance. That's one way. Another way is to completely fill the background with a video. I've done that on a couple of occasions. It's not good for a couple of reasons. Firstly, your angle versus the angle of the video taken will never match. So it can be very distracting, like visually to somebody. And the other thing is it's distracting from a story perspective as well.
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying, you're too busy watching what's going on behind you. It's like having a cat in the room. So that's a good question. I've gone for the white background again for contrast.
Yeah.
There are other colours you could use, I guess, but just not matte colours, just block colours.
Yes.
And nothing obviously too garish that's going to really, like if I had a hot pink behind me, for instance, that would be awesome. People's eyes would bleed as they're watching it. So yeah, I think that's a safe bet is to get something light. Having the company name there, good, or the topic name.
Okay.
And if you have got videos that you want to run through it, like maybe you're talking about something in business, you're talking about financial management, and you want to cut to what they call B-roll of someone putting in a spreadsheet or something, you could have recorded that yourself, or you could have gotten some B-roll from footage, and I'll tell you about a place to go to get that in a minute. And you'd literally just cut off you into that and then back into you. And because you've recorded the audio separately, you can just leave it there in the background. If you don't record the audio separately, you can, in this software anyway, you can just go detach audio and it separates it out.
That's right. And the same with the
Premiere, yeah.
Premiere does the same. I can actually run several audio files in Premiere and mix and match between the two.
Excellent. And you're about to ask me about music in the background.
I am about to ask you about music.
Yeah, so I've done both, obviously. The more I use music in the background, the less I like it.
Okay.
It's got its moments. I think the best use I've used it for is when you're transitioning from one topic to another, and you just fade the music in, fade the music out, do a bit of a transition slide, and then go into the next bit.
Okay.
And that's kind of cool. A bit like you do in a training room. If you're having an activity, you might put some music on.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a lot of stuff.
So one last question. Then you see a lot of videos where they have an intro, like a jingle and several different clips running or what have you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I've got. There's a lot of really great resources there. Out of the scope of today's session, but I will cover that with you after this session. Okay.
Sure.
Any other questions about what we've learned today about the setting up the iPhone, or the phone, I should say, audio, lighting, anything like that?
Looking at my photo here, at the moment, I've got a very shiny forehead. Is that an issue?
If it really is shiny, I wouldn't call that shiny. I've seen a lot worse. There are some things you can do post-production to dial it down a bit, but not much. It's really when you're filming it. You can do the whole makeup thing.
Yeah.
I've done that before. It's a thing. Generally, this is going to sound really weird, but basic mineral foundation.
Yeah.
That matches your skin.
Yes.
So you have to go shopping with your wife, she can point to the right ones, okay? If you get one that doesn't match your skin, you look like someone on TV, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Not in this country. So it has to be, match your skin, very light mineral foundation that you can just brush on, gets rid of all the shininess. I'd only do that if you're planning on doing like multiple videos in a row, because otherwise you're washing your face all the time and it's not very comfortable.
Yeah.
And it gets on your collar and all that sort of stuff too. It's very unpleasant. I tend to just deal with the fact that I got pock marks and pimples and stuff like that. Okay, just deal with it. You're getting the best of me. But you look fantastic on camera. You do.
So-
You really do. That looks great.
Not a
I
problem.
want to listen to you.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Well, thanks very much for joining in the training session, Doug. Just to quickly recap, we've talked about how to set up the camera, how to set up the framing, the thirds, which you're already familiar with, so that wasn't difficult. We didn't spend too much time on that. Having a level background, how important it is, and I especially didn't, so you can see how bad it looks. And then we looked at how to transfer it and how to do a very basic edit, because the editing software itself will differ from machine to machine. And the fact that there's plenty of resources on YouTube about how to go further. Also, off topic a little bit, we talked about where you might be able to get lighting, and after the session we'll talk about things like some of the After Effects and Adobe effects that you can get to do intros, and also where you can get some of the B-roll film from as
Yes, that'd be great.
well. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much, my friend.
All right, thanks,
Okay.
Dan. Appreciate your time.
No worries.
It's been good.
Good morning, Dan. My name's Doug Ivins. I'm one of the senior facilitators here at Spec Training. My background has been in adult education for a long period of time. Like most people, started as a casual trainer, and then over a period of about 25 years worked my way through to senior management roles, ending up as Chief Executive Officer of a number of private organisations. So today I'm here to help you learn more about vocational education and training, assessment in particular, and through my experience I hope to also give you a bit of background as to what it's like to work within the classroom assessing students.